War confers many things on boys who pick up a weapon to fight. They learn the true meaning of fear. They test their own capacity for courage and the limits of humane endurance, physical and mental. Some find that killing comes easily to them, too easily, and others recoil from acts of blood. But what unites all teenage warriors is the speed with which they are hurled into a place of maiming and death. Describing the training of a boy soldier in World War I, Wilfred Owen wrote in Arms and the Boy. Let the boy try along this buoyant blade, how cold steel is, and keen with hunger of blood, blue with all malice, like a madam's flash, and thinly drawn with famishing for flesh. Lend him to stroke these blind, blunt bullet heads, which long to muzzle in the hearts of lads, or give him cartridges of fine zinc teeth, sharp with the sharpness of grief and death. From Homer's Iliad to the present day, the stories of boy soldiers evoke a particular sadness, resonant as they are of the destruction of youth and possibility. But at the outbreak of the Great War, there was nothing to suggest that the tens of thousands of boy volunteers were about to join a long, doomed procession. Nearly 250,000 teenagers would join the call to fight. The motives varied and often overlapped. Many were gripped by patriotic fervor, sought escape from grim conditions at home, or wanted adventure. Technically, the boys had to be 19 to fight, but the law did not prevent 14-year-olds and upwards from joining in droves. They responded to the Army's desperate need for troops, and recruiting sergeants were often less than scrupulous. It was obvious they weren't 19, says historian Richard Van Emden, but you'd have a queue of men going down the road. You're getting a bounty for everyone who joins up. Are you really going to argue the toss with the young lads who's enthusiastic, who's keen as mustard to go, who looks maybe pretty fit, pretty well? Let's take him. 15-year-old Cyril Jose was a tin miner's son from Cornwall. With the region suffering from heavy unemployment, the boy with a strong sense of adventure joined up. From his training camp, he wrote an excited letter to his sister. Dearest Ivy, stand back. I've got my own rifle and buoyant. The bayonet's about 2 feet long from hilt to end of point. Must feel a bit rummy to run into one of them in a charge. Not arf. Goodbye and God bless you from your fit brother, Cyril. Cyril survived the war, but the bloodshed he witnessed in France turned him into a vehement opponent of militarism for the rest of his life. In one letter home, he poured scorn on the British commander, Field Marshal Earl Haig. What brains Earl Douglas must have. Made me laugh when I read his dispatch. I attacked. Old women in England picturing Sir Doug in front of the British waves, brandishing his sword at Johnny in the trenches. Attack Johnny from 100 miles back. I'll get a job like that in the next war. Recruitment officers were paid 2 shillings and 6 pence for each new army recruit and would often ignore any corners they had about age. Many people at the start of the 20th century didn't have birth certificates, so it was easy to lie about how old you were. The minimum height requirement was 5 feet 3 inches with a minimum chest size of 34 inches. If you met these criteria, you were likely to be recruited. Some young boys were scared of being called a coward and could not resist the pressure from society. The patriotic imperative at the outbreak of war was not confined to British born boys. For the children of migrants, rallying to the flag was proof of loyalty to their new country. Abby Bevestein was born in Russian occupied Poland in 1898 and came to London when he was 3. In September 1914, Abby volunteered, changing his surname to the English Harris. I'll continue in my next video.